You know, in bodybuilding competitions now, they will do everything but, you know how they tan up their body so much, right? They'll do everything but their face so they don't get accused of blackface. Kick it!
Continuing
Tonight on Two C's in a Pod, 96.7 on your... Two C's in a pod, 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 two C's just like two C's in a pod, two C's in a pod at gmail.com.
That's an intro. Hey everybody, you're tuning in here. It's a Monday morning. It is June, I think. Hey, your rent's due. Don't forget about that before your landlord starts calling you. You're listening to Two C's in a Pod, hosted by your two favorite corporate moguls, Cameron LeClaire on your left, Cam Osborne on your right. Two friends that get together on a weekly basis and pretend to be yours while you listen in your car on your commute to work. Did you watch the baseball game last night? Probably not.
I don't think anyone's ever asked me that question before. Did you watch that baseball game last night? It's just not. I don't know. It's a new question. No. It's a new question I've been asked.
Yeah, that's like, hey, did you get a new hit on that C++ coding structure? No, didn't catch that in the news.
But I did get a hit off CC Sabathia, throwing a 92 mile per hour slider down home plate. Here's Babe Ruth pointing up the top of the monster. Let's see him fucking hit that.
So the ball game was the Jays against the Yankees. It was a doubleheader. Because there was a rain delay, so you only go 7 innings and then you play another 7 innings, which is always very weird on the highlight package because it's like, yeah, Jays win a big one, and they're like, and then you start watching the highlights again, like, didn't I just see this game? You're like, no, this is a completely separate game, and then they lost that one, and you're like, I don't know how to feel anymore. And also, how do tickets work?
Yeah, they should at least put on maybe a different different
uniforms?
Jersey. Something like that. One thing I love about the double header too, the 7 inning thing, like baseball should be 7 innings to begin with.
Maybe 5.
Yeah,
I was also thinking they just slow down the pitching, and you only get hits.
Slow it down.
Baseball,
a sport famously one of the slowest sports to begin with.
Oh, I meant like the pitch speed, like 97 miles per hour, a little too fast. Let's drop it down to a max of 60.
I know.
All right, anything over that, you got to run. And then on top of that, you can only get a run if you hit a home run.
Because nobody wants to watch a pitching battle. We want to see people go yard.
Bo Bichette hit what looked like cannon fire in Israel yesterday. It was crazy.
People died.
Yeah.
People died in and around the Yankee Stadium area. It was terrible. But you're right. If a doubleheader can go to 7 innings, why can't literally every single other game go to 7 innings? It's not like, you know, if the Leafs are playing back-to-back playoff action, it's not like you're playing 2 periods both nights. You're still got to play that third period. I can't think of another sport where the game is shortened just to accommodate another game, which is also then shortened.
I love watching sports where the rules have to come in place and they have to go on the broadcast. Like, so no one probably knows this rule, but
love it.
If there is in 3 runs and it is past the 6th inning, but after 2 outs, but before the first player in the lineup with the letter A has gone, it is deemed a win for the darker colored team on their jerseys.
Yeah, you know a sport is popular when they have to explain the rules of it.
No, I just like when it's a common sport and they're like, something happens and they go like, what happens there? And then someone's like, I don't know, Joe. Like the UFC had a really good example the other day where someone got fouled. They got like kneed in the head when they were down. And then the ruling came, like, they're like, okay, it's a win for this guy. And everyone's like, what? Like, how does this make sense? And they're like, it's because it was a championship bout after the 3rd round, and it was an intentional foul, not an unintentional foul, against this person who was down on the points. And you're like, okay, I guess, yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I feel like we're stretching it.
Definitely a stretch.
But there has to be, they have to draw a rule somewhere, right?
Definitely a stretch. There's a lot of those rules in golf. too, where
Oh,
the
love
caddy
the
and the
golf
player
rules.
needs to know. And we were watching this one highlight because it had come up in a disc golf game we were watching where the rule was contrary to that of the, of ball golf. And it was one of these things, and like it was a 7-minute video having to explain what the hell's going on, because if you were just watching it with no commentary, you would have no and you didn't. It was a very particular rule about a drop zone not being closer to the pin than the original. It was this whole thing, and it was like if you didn't know, it would have been right over the fuck your head. You would have no clue what was going on.
I wonder if there's any rules about putting a little bit of glue on your golf club.
A little bit
and
of
then just super glue.
Okay.
Touching the ball,
Okay.
grabbing it. You're only using your club, right? Bring it right to the hole. We're thinking ahead here. We're thinking through the loops.
Oh, okay. Because see, as far as I know with golf, as long as the ball is still moving, it's still moving.
Ah, I like that.
Right? I think kind of like the gist of it. Like you can't, if the ball is on the green and then, a gust of wind takes it into the water, that ball is now in the water.
So if I can like hockey stick it from a par 3 and just like tick, tick, tick on my stick, is each one of those a stroke?
It's so hard to say. Because I guess as long as the ball and the club only made contact once.
Well, no, but
if
it
you
made
went
contact,
like
but it never hit the ground. It's like tick, tick, tick. It never hit the ground.
No, that would be a stroke
That's-
for every single
that'd be
time.
a lot of strokes.
Because you'll see that
Okay.
sometimes too, where sometimes like a player will be lining up for a chip or something out of the sand, and they'll accidentally touch the ball, and then they'll kind of go for their backswing, have their chip out of the sand,
Right.
and
But
then
what I'm saying is
they
that's
look
because
back
it
on
touched the ground.
Then they look back on the footage, and they're like, oh, he touched it twice there. Let's nab him for it.
Right. Okay. I hear where you're coming from. I gotcha.
It happens.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You're picking up what I'm
we
putting
got
down.
no plosive filter today, so apologize for any letter P's.
Plosive pop filter, as it's known in the
filter
in the
biz
in the business.
Yeah, we're doing it raw today. We're still up north, so we're 6 days without a shower. Who knows? Who's counting anyway?
You're raw dogging
Yeah,
the podcast.
that's it.
It's
Feet
disgusting.
smell.
It's disgusting,
2 pairs
Cam.
of socks.
Let's move ahead.
Love it.
Let's move ahead. Let's move ahead by moving back because we need to get into some notes.
Notes. We got some notes. We got some notes. Notes. We got some notes.
Amendments, as they say in the biz.
As I said, and then you used a completely different word one
Right.
time. We didn't
Notes
cover notes.
and amendments.
We didn't cover notes last week, but let's cover, I guess, so like from 2 weeks ago. First off, is a flux capacitor real? Cam, I'm sorry. The answer is no. The flux capacitor does not exist, thereby possibly removing any Back to the Future style time travel from happening. I gotta say though, we stopped off in Peterborough on Monday and parked right behind a DeLorean. That was pretty cool. You don't see them too often.
No. Now the thing is, they are made of, I think, stainless steel, so they're very heavy, but they never rust.
Ooh, there you go. Which is probably why they were able to kind of get up to 88 miles per hour, maybe, and kind of time travel, because it's the perfect vehicle for it. Who knows? Who knows? So that was a little cool one for me. So flux capacitor is not real. We're talking about, you're reading the book In the Heart and the Sea, when they're trying to capture the big Moby Dick. I got this one wrong. Ishmael was the name of the sailor, and Ahab is the name of the captain, who's obsessed with capturing the whale. I got that mixed up. I thought it was Abraham or something.
Yeah, Abraham is a much more common name than, what'd you call him?
Ahab and Ishmael. That being said, though, I think regardless, it was pretty good for a book I've never read. Although maybe I should read it, because it is considered to be one of the great American novels.
Moby Dick is?
Moby Dick is one of the great American novels. You might
So
be
was The
asking
Catcher in the Rye, and I'll tell you what, that ended up with a guy dead.
J.D. Salinger, exactly. Well, you'd be surprised, Cam, because Catcher in the Rye is also to be considered one of the great American novels.
That's what I
We'll
mean.
run them
But
down here for you. We got The Last of the Mohicans. We got The Scarlet Letter, Moby Dick, Uncle Tom's Cabin. The Adventures of Huckleberry
Didn't that one
Finn,
get canceled?
The Red
Also
Badge
canceled?
of Courage, McTeague, The Great Gatsby, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Absalom,
Never heard of that
Absalom, The Grapes of Wrath, Fountainhead, Catcher in the Rye, Invisible Man, The Adventures of Augie March, Lolita, To Kill a Mockingbird, Gravity's Rainbow, Blood Meridian, Beloved, American Psycho, Infinite Jest, Underworld, Freedom, and Telegraph Avenue. All to be considered, these are great American novels. Not much, it sort of seems like there's one every 10 years written. Which, that being said, we're due for another one. It's 2012 was the last great American novel. No idea who determines if there's a council.
You did. I think there was one missed. It might have been an outdated list. You forgot Captain Underpants and the Attack of the Talking Toilets.
Yes,
That's a
actually,
classic.
the entire Captain Underpants series is actually considered just as one. Of course, the Perilous Plot of Professor Poopy Pants. The entire thing is just considered to be one giant.
Can't forget about the invasion of the incredibly naughty cafeteria ladies from outer space.
You can't forget that one with that huge title where half is in parentheses. Can't forget about that one. But that's exactly it. There's no committee figuring out who these are or what these novels are. However, they are novels which are deemed to embody the essence of America, generally written by Americans and dealing in some way with the question of America's national character.
Yes.
Which
Lunch Ladies from Space. I think that's critical. I think the kids need to learn about this.
Yeah, certainly. I have read one of them. I've read one of these and
sure.
saw the movie for maybe 3 more of them. I got I also
Kill
read
a Mockingbird, Catcher in the Rye. What do you got?
I read Catcher in the Rye. I read Fountainhead. I've seen Lolita, the movie. I've seen American Psycho.
That's on the classics?
Yeah.
You didn't say that.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I missed that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's a great movie. I can't imagine the book holds up because I love to see a man peel his face off.
Such a no, Cam, you heard me wrong. The film Face Off, the novelization of the film Face Off, is not an American classic. Although it should be.
Is American Psycho the one where he gets the reservation at that restaurant, and like that's a stupid punchline, and it's like, you got a reservation at Lolita's? Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. And he peels his face off, and he kills the person with an axe.
Yeah, he kills Jared Leto with an axe.
That's the one.
Big.
Look at me.
Big spoiler.
Yeah,
big
look at
spoiler.
me.
I've also seen. I understand the story of Huckleberry Finn. I know what's going on there. Kind of traveling across. But yeah, there's the great American novel for you. We're due for one. It's been about 9 years since the last one came out. And finally, our last note, we have to talk about pasteurization. Of course.
We've been thinking about this. How do you pasteurize eggs?
You have been thinking up this week. Of course, pasteurization is a process where food is treated with mild heat.
Told you.
Usually less than 100 degrees Celsius in order to eliminate pathogens, certain bacteria, and extend shelf life, getting rid of bacteria, enzymes, risk of sickness, this, that, and the other. Of course, like we had mentioned, it was a process kind of founded by a man named Louis Pasteur, who named the process when he first used his theory on wine, attempting to remove certain enzymes from wine so it would keep longer. Now, it's mainly done to dairy products these days to keep the foods and to keep them safer. But specifically, we were talking about the eggs. The eggs are still kind of on the which side do we kind of do it? In North America, we refrigerate our eggs after many salmonella outbreaks throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Apparently, salmonella was a big problem for 30 years. No one could quite figure it out.
That's why everyone's so scared of it all the time.
That's why everyone's
I'm never scared of it.
I'm never
People are
scared
like, Did you
of
wash your
salmonella?"
chicken? I'm like, I'm going to put it on a grill and cook it to 165 Fahrenheit. No, I didn't wash my chicken.
Internal temperature, because as we know, keeping something below 40 degrees Celsius will keep off salmonella, and then heating it up to above, like you said, 165 will also kill it. So it's that kind of in between period where at one point in the 1970s and 80s, eggs were responsible for 77% of salmonella. outbreaks, which means less than
Well,
actually
Europe,
just
though,
eating
doesn't
chicken.
refrigerate their eggs.
Now, here we go in North America. We refrigerate our eggs after the salmonella outbreaks, despite our best efforts to keep them clean. Eggs that you find in the superstore here in North America are washed, disinfected to keep the outside safe. So all you have to do is just cook the inside. In Europe, well, we ask ourselves, why don't we refrigerate our eggs in Europe? Because many countries in Europe have actually vaccinated their hens to protect the eggs in which they produce from salmonella in the first place.
Wow. Look at this learning. Did you show up here to learn, everybody? Because you better, because you're going to learn this today.
You better have. However, when you are refrigerating your eggs in the first place, you shouldn't put them in the door. The door is the worst place to keep your refrigerated eggs. Due to the door constantly being opened, the eggs will receive such a temperature fluctuation, it may just fuck with the taste of the eggs. And the egg taste, smell, and flavor can also kind of permeate into the rest of your fridge. However, refrigerating your eggs can double the shelf life for your eggs. So I really think the answer is just fucking eat more eggs. Just eat as many eggs.
How many did you eat this morning? I got 3 in me.
Haven't had breakfast yet today. Just kind of woke up and had to have a cup of coffee and signed on. 3 or 4 eggs is my daily egg.
So do you buy
quota.
the 36 pack then?
No, I just buy I'll buy like 2 12s.
Okay, so 24.
Yeah. Buy 2 12s. Sometimes if I have a vehicle at my disposal, they're selling the pallet. I like when the
pallet's good.
One time I was able to purchase a pallet of eggs, and it feels good. It feels good to buy that many eggs.
Yeah, I like the pallet. Only problem with the pallet, where do you store it?
Yeah, you need a flat surface in your fridge, or you need to keep 12-pack egg containers, and in that case, you're like, well, what the hell's going on here?
We have this thing that's a plastic egg container that will hold, I think it's 36 eggs, but it has a lid on it. Mm-hmm. So you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
It allows you to double your trouble.
Oh, okay.
Stack yourself on the eggs. You looking for egg storage?
Are you looking for egg storage? Or look no further. Cam's got the solutions. Those are all the notes we have for the week, though. Yeah, that's about all we got. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. I think we're still doing the show, Cam.
Well, I mean, in terms
it's
of
not like that someone else comes on and does notes and amendments.
In terms of notes, we'll see you next.
Passing it off to John for notes and amendments.
We'll see you next week for that. Yeah, we'll see you next week for that. But that's all we got.
Right. Lovely. Well, I think maybe next week we're chatting about the odd rules in sports. I might do a little top 5 about that. What is the best? Because I know there's a ton of them. Maybe bending of the rules to win the game. I love sports like that because there's a bunch in hockey where they had to make up specific rules, such as the Sean Avery, I will now turn towards the goalie to distract him rather than away from the goalie. That has now been banned and deemed the Sean Avery rule. Remember that one?
I feel like I do.
Playoffs,
I feel like I
Broder.
do remember that one.
Yeah, he was screening the goalie, and then he decided, because he didn't even care if he got a shot on, he didn't even want to know where the puck was. He just wanted to know where the goalie was. So he turned around and was waving his stick, just trying to be a big pest.
Yeah, I feel like when I played hockey, I would never do that. Always turn around.
No one did that.
Yeah, but I feel like a coach would say, face the puck.
Yeah, but he was just the thing is, he wasn't a high skill player, right?
No.
He was just, I'm there to distract the goalie and, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Famously one of the lowest skilled players.
I wouldn't say that. There's probably worse.
Well, yeah, but they're 7.
Yeah. Remember that guy who went to the NHL All-Star game and he was a...
John, yeah, I remember him. John something.
John
Adam John? Adam
no,
Scott?
No, no.
Adam John?
Adam Scott. No, that's not
Scott
Gottfried.
Adam? We're in the ballpark
John Scott.
on
John
this
Scott.
one. John Scott. I knew we were going to get there.
Adam Scott was a close one. That's a good golfer.
I knew we were going to get
just
there.
Vomit in my mouth. I don't know.
Yeah, John Scott, 12, fourth liner.
2 first names.
2 first names. You can't trust him.
No. Adam Scott, John Paul Jones. Can't trust him.
Yeah.
We had a friend named JC his name was spelled
Jesus Christ?
Jacee.
Jesus Christ?
No.
You were friends with the Jesus Christ?
The JC, the big guy upstairs. Hey, aren't we all friends with him?
Yeah, Jacey. Was it that?
No, EE.
That's weird.
Yeah, because I told my sister about it. She goes, what does JC stand for? I go, I've never thought about that. And then I went, oh, JC as in JACEE. And she was like, what kind of friends do you have?
And you're sure
And I
that was the
walked away.
name? And then did you confirm?
Yeah, we called him Jimmy, but
You called him Jimmy, even though his name was already pretty short. His name was 2 letters. You decided to add a few, take away a couple.
oh, we have a bunch of people like that. There was a guy named Alex who we called Harry.
Because?
Apparently he looked like Harry Potter when he was like 6, and it was like Harry stuck.
Yeah, there's a whole wave of us little white children with glasses in the year 1999. We all suffered due to the likes of you, the jocks, the 20/20 abled vision. We all suffered a little bit.
Yeah, I love smashing nerds' glasses these days.
These days?
Oh, you don't?
Yeah. Well, that Cam, you.
What's more disrespectful, spitting on someone or grabbing their glasses and just putting them on the floor and squashing them?
Like if you're doing the same action to somebody just walking down the street?
Yeah, if I were to go to you and like I didn't know you and I just was like, hey you, and then just spat in your face, or second option is grab the glasses off your face, throw them on the ground, and just crunch, crunch, crunch.
God.
And then walk away.
I would say the spitting has to be a tad more disrespectful. I don't know why, but it is for some reason a little bit more disrespectful.
We're just sitting on the top of the train, watching the clouds come over the rain. Okay, we're back.
Lost you there for a sec.
Spit on the face or smash the glasses?
Yeah, I think I'm going spit on the face would be more disrespectful.
I would think so too. Now the funny thing is, you probably saw this in the NBA the other day. Kevin something got popcorn thrown on him, and the whole world is like, this is unacceptable. We can't allow fans to interact with players. I remember back in my day, Ty Domi used to fight the guys in the crowd, and they came back to the next game to show their support. Now, these days, you throw a little popcorn on someone, it's popcorn. Is it right? No. Should you get kicked out of the game? Yes. Should you get your season tickets pulled away? Maybe a 5-game ban.
Well, see, I remember the Ty Domi that you were talking about. The guy was like coming over the penalty box, and he was like spraying him with water. Now, I'm sure that man was banned for life.
Maybe.
I'm sure he wasn't allowed to come back the next week.
Maybe.
Also, this is the 4th time a fan has interacted with Russell Westbrook directly. The first 2 times, they were hurling racial slurs at him. Can't remember what happened the 3rd time, and now there's this. So Russell Westbrook himself is a player who has been at multiple times the target to abuse by opposing fans.
Okay. Now, here's the count. This isn't really a counter argument, but a point. Someone got spit on in the NBA like last night, I think. Did you catch this? You see about this? Hear about this?
Did you see this? Did you hear
Folks,
about this?
Hear about this? That hasn't seemed to come out like a news story at all because he just didn't react. He's like, that's disgusting, but I'll continue to play. But Russell Westbrook, probably at his wit's end, whatever the saying is, lost it. Right? He's like, I will go murder you.
Yeah.
So the guy who gets spit on is like, well, it's hard out here for a pimp.
I remember seeing that one
Cam?
too. No, the person who spat on Trae Young is like suspended from MSG indefinitely. They were not a season's ticket holder, while the person who sprayed the popcorn was. So I think it was easy. It's easier to kind of pin down that popcorn person to be like, yep, so your season's tickets are gone. You're never allowed back at this venue. And then that's that. Where I think at the MSG, it might be a little bit harder to pin down, but you're right. Yeah, something fell down on him. Whether it was somebody spat, whether it was a gum.
No, spit and popcorn, in my opinion, are 2 very different things. One is deemed assault. One is deemed a good snack.
Yeah, pouring popcorn or something. I'm like, I thought you were hungry. I thought you needed some carbs.
You were getting off the game. It was a long game. Here's some cabs.
No, either way, both actions are fucked.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that I thought the spitting is, by definition, assault. And he just didn't seem to react. But maybe,
Well, I think, that was like, okay, so, I mean, I picture you're 32 minutes into playing a sport. You're paying attention to the ball being inbound. You're going to make the inbound pass. You're paying attention to the referee. You're trying to play the game, and then a little bit of water hits you in the back. You probably won't notice it. He kind of like flinches. Like, he kind of looked. He's like, what was that? Okay, let's get back to the game. Where the guy pouring popcorn was just flat out, here's the fucking bag on top of you. Game was over. There's not much else to pay attention to. Different circumstances, but yeah, I believe both people. Hopefully the person whoever spat at the New York Knicks game is not allowed back or.
Cam,
back
November
to
2007. Okay, bring yourself back to November 2007.
Okay, I had just turned 15 years old.
That's right. So I'm a little bit younger at the point.
I just turned 16.
I am singing choir. Oh, sorry, this would have been, 2006 maybe? I am singing choir at the Christmas recital for the school. At that moment, we're halfway done the song. I'm jamming. I'm flowing, right? All eyes on me. There's probably 50 people in the choir. I feel a little speck behind me of a little bit of liquid. Do I care? Not at all. Is it raining? Is it pouring? How? It's a gymnasium, but I'm going to hit those notes and finish off this song. Turns out, Kate Delphos behind me had a little too much macaroni and cheese. That was puke on my shoulder.
Ew.
I didn't miss a beat.
Ew. That's gross.
Yeah, but it happened.
Yeah.
I can never have I ever been puked on. Put one finger down.
Put one finger down. God, that's disgusting.
Yeah, that was bad.
Did the whole performance stop, or?
I think to clean up, and then they gave me a new shirt, and then
they gave you a new white collared shirt.
I was like, I don't need it. No, because I had a red sweater on. I think with a white shirt under it, and then they were just like, take off the red sweater, dude. I'm like, I can't. It's for my team,
Right.
It's not about the name on the back. It's about the jersey on the front.
Exactly.
Okay. I say we plow ahead here and play a little bit of...
Jesus Christ, game. You know that doing like a little left to right binaural thing doesn't work in this. It's still all coming out. It's just a mono source. It's not coming out, but you're talking.
Love it.
You're talking about the nightcap.
Nightcap.
The Nightcap, a shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist. All we need is 5 minutes to recap this week's episode. Maybe less than 5 minutes, but certainly not more than 5 minutes. We're going to need more than 5 minutes.
Every week, or at least every week, we try to recap.
Yeah, sometimes we miss an episode. Sometimes we watch the wrong episode.
Yeah, there was a mix of,
there was a mix-up.
We kind of mixed, we kind of
mixed
forgot.
up.
We forgot an episode where we forgot a week.
We recorded a week, and then
it was lost in the ethos, and then it's like, okay, well then that's, that was
ethos
that.
Was lost.
It happened. Yeah. We can't go back on it.
You can't revisit things.
And then by the next week, we had forgotten. But
it's like once you send a text, it's gone.
Yeah,
right?
Unless it's a Google text where there is a split second of the undo feature.
Ooh, love it. I think 5 seconds is an appropriate undo feature.
Yeah, I used the undo feature on an email once, for the first time, like the
use
other
it
week.
all the time.
Yeah,
I use it all
the
time.
other week.
Great feature, because then you realize the subject line has a spelling mistake, and you're like, why doesn't Grammarly connect those? Anyway, you kick this one off.
I am kicking this one off because every single week we recap an episode of Knight Rider, which follows the story of Michael Knight and his supercar Kit as they traverse the Midwestern United States, solving all the problems that come with small town living. We're bringing ourselves back to a beautiful Friday night in the fall of 1982. to 1982, where we are checking out episode 12, A Plush Ride. I'm going to kick this one off, and we have...
Oh, Javier, I need to get my timer.
We have our timers, because as you know, we only have 5 minutes to do this, and then, of course, we can't talk about it after that.
We do a little talk, but not much.
Only if it falls within the 5-minute span. Only if it falls with it. Only when it falls within the 5 minutes. Here we go.
Looking for a spoiler?
Clearing
if
my
you need
throat.
Spoilers, go ahead, 5 minutes.
Yeah, if you want to just click that little, 30-second thing.
10 times.
10 times. We're talking 5
3,
minutes. 3,
2,
2, 1. Here
boom.
we go. We open up with Devin watching some news about terrorists, and we can tell by the news that, or we can tell by his face that, he knows something about these radicals. Okay, day 1, 120 hours until meeting. Back at the shop, Dr. Bonnie oh my God, is working on Kit when Devin tells Michael Knight that he needs to drive somewhere, but not with Kit, which does seem a little bit fishy to begin with. They're driving right when we see a red Mustang catches us, and a little pursuit begins, but it turns out it was just a test of sorts to lead to a bigger plot, because we know the person driving the red Mustang. Next week, 3 leaders of third world countries are coming together to sign a treaty which will stop terrorism forever. I didn't think it could be done in our lifetime, but we think there is a rat who wants to foil this plan, so it's our job to find out who this person is and flush them out. Day 2, 96 hours until meeting. So we arrive at the Victory Academy, which is an academy for bodyguards, essentially, where we meet Margot, along with the rest of the fun, scrappy crew. And we can tell they're scrapping because as soon as we arrive, they're UFCing in the dirt, just right off the bat. Amongst all this, we use Kit's brand new X-ray to find a gun in Margot's luggage, which does seem a little suspicious. Why would she need a gun? We get a little rundown of the bulletproof cars that these bodyguards will be using, and they still don't really seem to be on Kit's level. Back at the mess hall, where we eat all our food, Michael Knight is eating 2 cherry tomatoes, 1 dinner roll, and 2 slices of ham, which hardly seems like enough food for an action star such as himself. Right then, a shadowy figure breaks into Michael Knight's room and plants a bomb under his bed, which goes off in the middle of the night, but it turns out to be a smoke bomb of sorts. And Knight and the others all run out of the rooms. Turns out to be a harmless test, a lesson to always be vigilant. Day 4, 48 hours until the meeting. I somehow missed day 3. I don't know how that happened. It's training day, and we get a little weird voiceover montage of the rest of the crew of their skills. The classic, he's the smart one, he's the strong one, he's the funny one.
Or all the characteristics Cam has.
Exactly, Continue. Everything that Cam is. We head off to a saloon where we see Bonnie, and Devin wearing a fun cowboy hat. We're waiting for us, where we confess our skepticism about this whole bad guy thing in the first place. Hey, I don't think there is a rat. I don't know why we're here. We decide to go back to the academy and search Margot's room. We pick the lock to get into her room, but as soon as the door closes behind us, Margot walks in, and she's got a lamp in her hand.
She takes the lamp in her hand, and immediately they get into a quick scuffle. We see the incredible martial arts of Margot, and they tie each other up where they face each other off and go, why is there a gun in your suitcase? Why are you looking? Should we be suspicious of each other? Maybe, maybe not. Who are we really here to fight? The suspicion is on. And next day, I don't have the time on this one, but they are doing a field exercise where they're, just doing things in a field to test out what terrorism would look like. So Michael and Lopez play terrorist and run into the field as the other people chase after them with plastic Uzis that shoot plastic bullets, to show how you can escape or to find people. Now, Mike assumes that something's a little bit fishy, and this is not just a exercise, this is real life to get Michael out of the scene. Soon enough, he realizes that this is for real, and these bullets, they aren't plastic. Next thing you know, Kit uses his new tool, the UAV feature, as you probably know from Modern Warfare, to figure out where all the people are, and finds Jacobs trying to murder him. They get into a short scuffle, they roll around a little bit, and next thing you know, Michael's at gunpoint, but Margot takes the final bullet and kills Jacobs. Now, it feels like the end of the episode. Michael's wrapping it up, going home, but then realizes something's a little bit awry and turns back around to go back into the parking lot, only to find Jacobs there. Holy smokes, everybody's in on it, the whole damn team. So they tie Michael up, they put him in a room, they chloroform him, and they're going to now put him in Kit to make it look like an accident that he died somehow. They go flying down a hill. They roll him down the hill, and somehow Kit doesn't have his auto feature on. I don't really know why, but uses his jetpack to stop the car from going off a cliff. Next, the classic car scene. A bunch of cars, they go chasing after him. Michael jumps a few of them trying to hit him, but they fly over him and they crash. And it ends up by the airport where the meeting is going to take place, where Margot is about to drive right into them and do a terrorist attack of herself. Luckily, Michael and Kit stop her, exploding the car. World saved, and then they go to a bar and have a bunch of fun. Great episode.
Great episode. That's exactly right, Cam. Snuck it in there, too. You were getting close there at the...
getting close.
We would have had to call it. That was like 4:59 and a half.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, I can't describe a car chase. It's like, they go, and the best car chase was the helicopter car chase, season 2, or episode 2, maybe, or 1 or 2. That was fantastic.
There was a good one. No, there was a good one a few episodes back. Yeah, how do you describe a car chase? That's exactly right. I think just a pursuit occurs.
Yeah, a pursuit occurs.
A hot pursuit occurs.
Yeah, there's always 5 cars. There's 2 that set up, and then those get jumped over, or they can't make the jump themselves. The other 2 explode, and there's 1 left with the real bad guy in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to describe, but that's it. That was episode 12. Can't wait for episode 13 next week, folks. Be sure to tune in to see what happens there.
Hey, plowing ahead with a little more games here, Cam. I think we might want to bring this one back. The new cool kids that are just coming out of high school using not a lot of new language, and it's about time that we keep up with it. I think it's time for a little Urban Dictionary balderdash.
AIDS, bum, cum, douche, edge, fap, gimp, herb, ike, jerk, cush, lamp, mac, narc, oaf, pank, queet, re, slore, tilf, uff, vag, walk of shame, zon, yeet, and zuck. Now let's play some balderdash. Urban Dictionary balderdash.
Succinct introduction too, Cam. That was incredible.
That's what I do.
It's not, which is why I'm so impressed. Yeah, that's it. What it is, I think you phrased it right there, Cam. We all know what Urban Dictionary is. We all know how to play balderdash. Cam, you kicked this one off, so how about you go for it? How about you give me your word?
All right, the word of the day today, Cam, is a sussy baka.
Sussy baka. Okay,
Not
I know.
Baka, B-A-K-A.
B-A-K, sussy baka. God, I don't even know.
2 words.
2 words. Okay,
would you like me to use it in a sentence?
Yes, please. Use it in a sentence.
Sussy baka over here selling feet pics on MySpace.
I didn't know that MySpace had a selling had a marketplace feature. Because anytime I go to MySpace to find old music, all the tracks are there, but they just won't play. That's the hardest part. Now sus means suspicious. Sussy would just be kind of holding the characteristic of being suspicious, but it's the baka. The sussy baka selling foot pics on MySpace. I think selling something on MySpace, so it has to be a suspicious, more than just a suspicious person, a sketchy person maybe, or somebody who's, this one's tough. I'm gonna say a sketchy, a sketchy person doing something sketchy.
You're close. It's a suspicious or sus person doing something dumb.
Dumb.
Okay, so sussy or sus actually comes from a video game from the game Among Us, meaning shifty or suspicious. And baka is roughly translated to idiot from Japanese, which you can find in a lot of anime or manga. So a sussy baka over here selling feet pics on MySpace isn't going to get very far, but is suspiciously still selling feet pics.
Sussy baka.
Sassy. Oh, I use a sassy baka out here, mans and Scarboroughs.
You're gonna get yourself killed with that accent.
You're gonna get yourself popped. All right.
Because you're doing the white guy from Scarborough accent. There's nothing offensive by you saying it. Mm-hmm. But you're still gonna get killed.
Let me hear what you got, kiddo.
Okay, Cam. Here's your word for you here. Tilt.
Oh, a tilt is a fight.
T-I-L-T, tilt.
Please use it in a sentence.
Of course I will. After my team lost that game of COD, I was on tilt.
Oh, okay, interesting. See, we always said in like a hockey game, it's like, oh, they're gonna have a good tilt, which meant they were gonna have a fight. And it's like, or you'd say, or we're gonna have a tilly after the game, which means that you were also gonna have a big scrap. On tilts, I'm gonna go ahead and say it means after we lost our game of COD, we were on tilt. We were angry, frustrated, or just off our game. It's like we were shook by it.
Cam, that's pretty damn close, I gotta say. The term tilt is a video game term, meaning an emotional state where doing the exact same thing over and over again produces negative results. It's an emotional breakdown and frustration of your hard work not resulting in the success that you crave so desperately. The best thing that you can do when you're on tilt is just to take a break. We've all been there. You're trying to beat that final boss. It takes you 12 times. You're pissed off. You're on tilt. Maybe all you need is just turn the game off, turn it back on.
Do a little AFK.
What's that mean?
Away from keyboard.
Exactly. Do a little AFK.
Rents are close by.
BRB. What was that one? The parents over shoulder or something like that?
Oh, something. Yeah. I don't know.
It was something like that.
I love seeing the ones like that are 5 years late of like a Reader's Digest version of what your kid's saying online. And it has a bunch of acronyms. Like, I don't know what these mean.
Yeah,
I don't use these.
I don't think that's as prevalent anymore. Or
Yeah.
I do wonder because I mean I'm not talking to kids. When I was a kid, yeah, G to G, BRB, LOL. Besides that,
Rents are calling.
I never did.
Sorry, AFK.
I never did TTYL. I never did that one.
TTYL. Talk to you later.
Because then I felt like the older I got too, the more
LOL, lots of love.
the more it was like only adults speak in that like very primitive internet terminology.
We had to tell Audrey that when she sends a K period, it comes off the wrong way.
Oh.
Because Shannon's asking me, she's like, why did she send me a K period? I'm like, that just means she understood. I'm like, why can't you say okay or something? Like, it's the same thing. It's just in our language, K period means I am beyond angry.
I am so mad at you.
I am so mad, but I will show you that I'm mad, but let you know I've also read the message. Okay.
Okay. Or
She didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why would you, right?
And she's probably dropping that out to her friends too.
Her friends are probably like, "Ah,
hey,
just
I'm gonna be 5 minutes late for our tea time." Okay. Like, Jesus, hurry
Oh
up.
my
Okay, I'll be there
God.
at 3. I'll be there in 3.
put in a
my
sixth
Lord.
gear and just fucking...
Just go without me. Go without me.
Yeah, I don't think, the internet speak, I'm sure that was a problem. I do love, I like it when you watch back on a movie made in the 90s or something, and the kids are speaking in that funny little internet talk of way too many abbreviations.
Yeah, but also based on the writer's interpretation of, like, kid speak. So it's just over the top and, like, incorrect.
Yeah, I wonder where that kind of started, where I can certainly understanding, like, abbreviations and short forms, but to the over-the-top extent where you're no longer typing out English. You're just typing letters, combinations of letters to convey a message. I wonder where that idea started. Because, like, you know, if you're writing a letter, well, you would think you would be doing the short forms in writing a letter, because it would be less letters to write for your hand. Like, it'd be harder to write laugh out loud than just LOL. But clearly, you know, there must have been somebody at the helm of creating all these kind of burgeoning internet terms.
Yeah, they just develop over time. It's like Slenderman itself is an internet creation.
Yeah.
All right, let's play our final game of the evening tonight, Cameron. It is time to discover the wide world of the web to figure out which headlines are real and which ones are false, which ones are Heil, which ones are no Heil, which ones are salami and which ones are baloney. Cam, it's time for Headline or Asinine.
Hey, headline or asinine.
Headline or asinine.
Cam, you're 2 for 2 today on
Holy
good
smokes,
segues.
I'm hot today.
I know. You're
All right.
You're feeling good. You're feeling good.
All right, Cammers. Boris Johnson considered being injected with COVID-19 live on TV.
Just with it? They have that in a petri dish just somewhere ready to go? I didn't know that. I didn't know that they had diseases ready to go. Like, boom, here's a bunch of cancer. Cancer of what? I don't know. Let's fucking go.
By a bat? Huh? Is that what you think? Huh?
Would he? No, you wouldn't do that on live TV. That's just like a cuck move. I don't see why anyone would want to do that on TV, especially an old fat man like him. Like if it was like, young healthy man to be injected with disease, it would be like, okay, or infection, it'd be like, okay, he's young and healthy, he'll be fine. But if it's like heavy set man in his 50s, I'd be like, oh, maybe you're not the one to do this, sir. Who knows what's going on over there in Britain? They're driving on the wrong side of the road, so clearly they have their priorities out of whack. So I'm going to say that's a headline.
This is a headline in the early of the pandemic. Well, it just came out recently, but an ex-advisor told this a few days ago where because he thought it was such a scare story, he considered getting injected with the coronavirus live on television to show that it was benign. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but he also caught COVID-19 very early in the pandemic and was so ill he had to move to intensive care at London Hospital, where he received liters of oxygen, which goes on the black market for millions in India right now. He was very close to his death and even prepared to have plans announced if he died. He obviously came back from it, and maybe this was a poor thought on his part, but hey, we all made mistakes at the early of the pandemic. Remember we used to sanitize our groceries? Back to you, Cam.
I never sanitized my groceries, I'll tell you that much. That was fantastic. Way to go. I gotta say, one of the best political haircuts of all time has to belong to Boris Johnson, who always looks like he's just stepped out of a wind tunnel. Or it looks like he just stepped out one of those, those like tubes that you stand in and a bunch of money's flowing around and you gotta grab the money. He looks like he always just got out of one of those money tubes.
Those classic ones you see on the street all the time.
The classic ones you see picking up singles. Okay, Cam, I got one here for you. Headliner asinine. Toronto police leave homeless encampment in peace after residents say they're just an anti-mask protest.
That's a weird thing about laws. So here's what I'm thinking. All right, there's a bunch of tents. It's very clearly a homeless encampment, and they're like, guys, you have to move. Rule 678B3 28967 ZY Alpha B states that you cannot be here for X amount of time due to pandemic restrictions and government for claiming that the watermelon bill is out of whack, which included the laws deemed so, notwithstanding. Right, if your coffee was over 26 degrees. Anyway, do I think it's real? Yeah, I think the police probably showed up because they were told they had to. And then, basically, they're like, oh, you think this is a... It's funny you mentioned that. No, we're not wearing masks. We're actually protesting. I go, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. That you're allowed to do that. We're not infringing your right to speak, right? I think personally the police knew well what was going on, but it's the same thing as like when your boss tells you to do something and you find the slightest way they were like, oh, but see, there's a rule that says I can't do that. What a shame. Can't do it. Sorry about that, boss. Headline.
Cam, this is asinine. I made it up.
Well, that leaves my tyrant to nothing.
But a very well worded asinine, though, I gotta say.
Very good.
I did a good one.
Hey, headliner asinine camp. Casey Anthony is tired of getting drinks thrown in her face. Police report.
Police reports. Now, this is surprising. Because I like it like you're tired of it, which means that it's happened so often. Like once you'd be like jerk, asshole, but like it's happened so many times that you're like, this is just enough. I gotta bring a second shirt with me everywhere I go. I need rain goggles. I need to I'm redoing my outfit choices due to that. I mean, at least, hopefully it's like at least all you can hope that it's a cold drink, not a hot drink. You know, I mean, someone spilling their macchiato latte on your head, that's going to hurt after a while. There could be some serious second, third degree burns, you know, but if it's just a nice tequila sunrise, then hey, slurp some of that up. You might end up a little bit sticky, but that's the price you got to pay. That's the price you got to pay when you did not murder anybody. It's a headline.
This is a headline out of Florida, where Casey's back on the police radar because of a alleged love triangle turned into a verbal fight that ended with drinks getting splashed on the face cam. According to police report, O'Shea's Irish pub, in West Palm Beach, Florida, where Casey Anthony and it's getting a little confusing here, a woman with an ex-boyfriend, which were this. Think about a love triangle. There's a lot of stuff involved here. Anyway, she spilled water on her left leg, so no drink, just spilled water on her left leg. She wanted this documented, saying, "Oh, you think this is the first time? I keep getting drinks thrown in my face." Police officer explained to Anthony how to restrain a filing order, but she said she didn't want to file them. That being said, the police do say it's been going. Oh, my Lord. It's been an ongoing issue for years, the police report stated. Well, Cam, never forget, Kaylee's remains were discovered very much near Anthony's home in 2008.
She didn't do
Back
it.
to you,
I
Cam.
know, she didn't do it. I watched the thing. She didn't do it. I'm just saying. Don't go.
I'm not putting judgment.
Don't go
I'm just stating
blaming.
the
Don't go
facts.
blaming
I'm
the
stating
woman because
facts.
her daughter died. You know, it's not her fault.
I'm just stating the facts.
I know you're just stating the facts,
Just stating
right?
the facts.
I mean, if she
I'm
did
just
it,
asking
she
questions.
did it.
I'm just asking questions.
If she did it, she would have been found guilty, right?
Is it illegal to ask questions?
Isn't that how the law process
Have
works?
Have you seen the curvature of the earth? You tell me.
That's a good point. Speaking of the
I'm just asking questions.
Speaking of the curvature or the earth, headline or asinine, 1/3 of young millennials are confused about whether the world is flat.
That's a very high number. 1/3 of millennials, and millennials represents got to be 94 to like 2002 or something like that. I'm sure I'll get the headlines if it is a real story. I think 1/3 is a huge number, but I do see them being so much bullshit online about it that 1/3 of our peers. Cam, are you a millennial?
I think we are technically, because it's like,
we're on the cusp.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's like 88 to 98 or something. Like we're kind of more like in the middle. I think you're more in the middle, but yeah, either way.
I don't know. Anyway, do I think 33% of our peers are confused? Maybe they're confused that why is there so many people thinking about this? Right? That being said, that's way too high of a number for me to believe it. I'm going to call asinine.
Cam, this is a headline here for you. This is coming off of a recent study by YouGov.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop there and say YouGov probably surveyed 7 people at a hookah lounge and was like, a third of those are a little confused about, these surveys are bullshit.
Well, okay. So listen, now we're not saying that everybody in this age gap believes that the world is flat. In fact, only 4% of those people between the ages of 18 to 24 believe that the world is flat. However, in this recent study, it shows that 66% of this group just aren't sure what the world is. For comparison, for your sense, 94% of people 55 and older believe the world is round, where 76% of those 25 to 34 believe the world is round. And no one knows why there is a huge discrepancy in these numbers. There could be other factors such as financial position. People who reported an income less than $40,000 a year were slightly more likely to say that the world was round than those people who made more. The biggest factor...
You mean the globalists?
The
globalist shills.
The globalist shills, that's right. The biggest factor in all of these things were actually religion, where in the United States, 52% of people who believe the world is flat also describes themselves as very religious. A descriptor that only 20% of Americans use as a whole use for themselves. This may be less of an ignorance thing, more as is a problem to the educational system. A similar poll in 1999 showed that only 18% of Americans thought the sun revolved around the earth. Well, I shouldn't say only, but yeah, that's almost 20% of people who thought, the sun is moving around us.
Sorry, can we stop? It's not?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. You thought the sun was coming towards us. We're not going towards the sun.
I'm asking questions.
See, it's a lot of these things.
I'm just asking questions.
Apparently, within the United States, there is a huge gap in these, quote, common knowledge ideas, which you learn around the age of grade 4, which there seems to be a gap about what either people seem to remember from learning from these classes or what they were actually taught. And they weren't taught about flat Earth, because flat Earth is not actually is actually a term that began to creep up in 2016. Out of nowhere. If you look at Google's search statistics around the world, it was not something that people talked about before then. And now, it's become a theory in and of itself. The problem has to stand probably with the education system.
Yeah, or the globalist shills. Up to you. Headliner asinine: Hummer slams into Tesla facility in protest.
Hummer. Yeah, well, that Cybertruck is hitting the airwaves soon. So the Hummer market, the big douchey truck market, needs to be on watch. These Hummer owners thinking to themselves, well, everyone's going to have this Cybertruck now. It looks like a Batmobile. That shouldn't be allowed. No, what should be allowed is my 8-person, 1.5 lane wide truck that just gobbles up the environment. I've never been in a Hummer. But I can only imagine it's pointless. I can only imagine it achieves the exact same things that a similar SUV would, but just with 100% more Kisses Lick It Up constantly playing. I like to picture that when you drive a Hummer, you're cycling through the radio stations, and every single radio station is just lick it up, lick it up, whoa, and then you get then you hear like a voiceover of like, driving the terrain is hard for an average car.
For a Jeep, no thank you. A Chevrolet, not a chance.
What are you?
A Hummer? Call that big dick energy.
Exactly. Lick it up. Bum, bum, bum. I like to picture that. That's happening every single time you drive inside of a Hummer. There's no other choice. Just with, the voiceover calling you a pussy. Kind of. It also one of the radio.
I think it's loudspeakers outside and going.
Oh,
hey,
that'd be nice.
Bitch.
That'd be nice. I would also like. There's also a mode where you can turn on the loudspeaker mode to just kind of give. It's just kind of looping some great Rogan quotes. For a lot of people, kind of like a lot of Rogan quotes taken out of context,
right.
Things where
it's entirely possible.
It's entirely possible. Kids should not be getting vaccinated. All these sorts of things because I imagine there's a huge cross-section between Joe Rogan listeners and Hummer drivers. That Venn diagram would have to be there's a big section there in the middle.
Yeah, there's a big circle in the middle.
It's basically
one circle.
It's basically one circle.
Yeah.
It's you own a Hummer, you listen to Joe Rogan.
Comes pre-installed, just like that U2 album in 2007.
Just like Songs of Innocence, when you buy a Hummer, every single Joe Rogan podcast is automatically uploaded, except for the ones with anybody who describes themselves as a feminist. All those episodes are deleted from the Hummer archive, because if you're driving a Hummer,
bullshit.
If you're driving exactly, we know what the voiceover is already going to say. I'm going to call this one a headline.
This is asinine.
Fuck. I got caught up. I got caught up in it. I should have called it asinine. I got caught up. I was like, oh my God.
See, I think I should have changed the headline to viral marketing stunt. I think that would have been even more believable.
Yeah. I should have seen that one coming. But I got caught up in the pageantry of the entire thing.
Oh, isn't it fun?
It was fun.
All right, cameras. That's about all the time we have.
I know. I have one more.
Today. Oh, okay. Sorry,
yeah, not too. Okay, here we go. Campaign headliner Asinine. Kim Jong-un bans skinny jeans and mullets in North Korea.
Well, if I'm to guess anything, skinny jeans and mullets is a representation of America in like 20 years ago. Actually, mullets are back. But from what I'm guessing is people down there kind of are just cracking into the movies of that time and being like, yeah, rock and roll. How tight can we get those jeans? Can I see David Hasselhoff's dick in Knight Rider? Maybe. Because those are some tight jeans. And mullets, oh my lord. Even if they're coming back with the big shitty sunglasses now, do I want that look? Maybe. That's very much an 80s look. And I assume they're about 30. Oh, fuck. That's 50 years behind now, the 80s. Oh my god.
40.
Time flies.
Oh, yeah.
40. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that, yeah, it's just another law. Do I think it's going to make a huge impact down there? Do I think a lot of people are like, no, not the mullet? No, I don't think so. Headline.
Cam, this is a headline. You're exactly right. And although it would be nice to see the, a black silky mullet, at least you're not going to see it in North Korea, because you are right. Because both of these things, and also including lip and nose piercings, are a representation of the capitalist lifestyle.
Culture.
Therefore, they are banned forever. Now, of course, this was a story reported by a state-run newspaper, so take it with a grain of salt. But I believe it because they're saying they're banning something. You know, I don't see them.
Yeah.
There are certain things that you can certainly see a propaganda newspaper lying about. I don't know if this would necessarily be one of those things.
Propaganda machine.
Exactly. And these new rules are just the latest attempt to crack down on anti-socialist behavior. Watch out, spray tan, because I think you're coming next.
Back to you, Cam. Thanks, Cam. Appreciate that. Well, everybody, that is all the time we have for you today.
That was fantastic.
If you do enjoy the episode, please tell one of your friends to subscribe. We love new listeners, right? And we love you. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, remember, kids, to pay it forward. You tell 3 friends that tell 3 friends that tell 3 friends,
right.
And then somebody throws acid on Kevin Spacey's face.
Can't wait.
And then the kid who saw dead people gets beat up and dies? God, what a sad movie for such a nice concept. But you can reach out to us, of course, twoseasonpod@gmail.com. You know, we're all over.
What's Eating Gilbert Gottfried, that movie?
What's Eating Gilbert Gottfried? The original, yeah. Not many people know Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to be the one playing Gilbert Gottfried was supposed to be the one playing Leonardo DiCaprio role with Johnny Depp there, instead, and he walks, when that pivotal scene when Leo walks up to his mom's room. When Leo walks up to his room, his mom's room, and he thinks his mom's playing dead, but she's actually dead, but it's just Gilbert Gottfried. Mom, stop playing around, Mom. That's my best Gilbert Gottfried that I can do. That's why we're not an impression podcast. That's why this is just your weekly news podcast. Find us everywhere. Like, subscribe. That's all the info we have.
Hey, and don't forget, people, next time you see a turtle, never forget, their shells never stop growing, just like our ears and noses. Take care. We'll talk next week.
Take care, folks.
Continuing tonight on Two C's in a Pod. 96.7 on your Two C's in a pod, 2 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 C's because we're 2 C's in a pod, just like 2 C's in a pod, 2 C's in a pod at gmail.com.